Welcome to the Regenerative Revolution. I'm Jackie Sersel. Today I want to discuss one of my favorite subjects and also a very controversial subject, and that is holacracy. And first I need to give a little disclaimer because the term holacracy is copyrighted by the organization Holacracy 1. They are rather protective of it for quality purposes. They restrict who can teach holacracy. So I need to be clear that this isn't a teaching video. This is just an opinion video of me explaining why I like holacracy and why I want to use it in the organizations that I'm a part of. I'm just going to be going over the real basics of it, and this is all my opinion. If you want to learn what holacracy is and exactly how it works, you can go to holacracy.org. You can read this book, or you can find a certified holacracy coach near you. So, holacracy is a governance system for management structures. In the last video, I talked about cooperatives and how they use democracy to make decisions at the ownership level, but that says nothing about how the organization is managed. So you could implement holacracy in a cooperative. You can implement holacracy in any type of organization. There's also an ownership structure called Encode that I really like that extends the same principles of a holacracy up to the ownership level. It's a good alternative for a worker-owned cooperative that gives everyone in the organization an ownership stake and pays them according to their contribution in stock instead of paying them in wages. It's a very interesting kind of approach to it that I really like, especially for startups. And really, I should just say up front, my interest in holacracy is in implementing it in brand new startups, especially producer and consumer cooperatives. The reason that I like holacracy is that it fulfills the principle of distributed authority. I have a set of design principles for regenerative enterprises called regenerative dynamics, and distributed authority is one of them. And I define that as giving decision-making power to those with first-hand experience, i.e. the people who are actually doing the work, i.e. letting people do their own jobs without being micromanaged. And I think a lot of people want that, especially people my age and younger. I think the reason that so many of us are disillusioned and frustrated and quitting our jobs or quiet quitting or, trying to make it on our own, starting our own companies, is that we're really sick and tired of these old management structures that don't give us any power. And for me, this is actually a right, okay? And the reason is that, to me, responsibility and authority are inextricably linked. You can't hold me responsible for something that I don't have any decision-making power over. It's almost abusive to hold me responsible for something that I don't have any power over. Come on. We need systems that guarantee this. And I think that would really go a long way towards helping the next generation feel more engaged in our work, feeling like we're contributing towards a purpose. All of these things that you hear that young people want today. Holacracy and other management structures like it do accomplish that. And this book right here, Reinventing Organizations by Frederick Lowe, really explains this really well, why distributed authority and evolutionary systems that are going towards a strong purpose really are better for people and organizations, and they do produce better results. So there's some research in this book. There's other studies that I've seen that have actually shown that distributed management systems do produce better results. You can research that on your own. I recommend this book. This book does talk about holacracy, but it also explains and gives examples of a lot of other organizations that use distributed authority management systems in the way that works best for them. And I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that holacracy is perfect for every organization. It's not. I just think for a startup, it's a good starting place, okay? Because it's a complete system. And let me just explain really quickly another management structure called sociocracy. So this book right here, We the People, Consenting to a Deeper Democracy, is kind of the textbook on sociocracy. And sociocracy and holacracy are very similar. Sociocracy has been around a lot longer. It's pretty popular in Europe. And the difference between sociocracy and holacracy is that sociocracy is just a set of 4 principles, which holacracy does, in my opinion, follow these 4 principles, but is pretty flexible. You can write your own rules of how to follow those principles, whereas holacracy is a complete system with a constitution. And if you say that you are implementing holacracy, you're actually adopting that constitution. So it's all pre-formatted, it's pre-made. And if you have a brand new organization, you don't know what's going to work yet for your organization, you can adopt a pre-made system that already has all the rules all laid out for you, right? So that's why I like holacracy. I really think it's a good starting point, but you could evolve from there. And if you did decide you needed to change that, change your constitution, then you could just call it sociocracy at that point. And that's perfectly fine. I also want to mention Zappos. It's kind of the elephant in the room. The largest organization to ever implement holacracy is called Zappos. They implemented it in 2014. And according to their website in 2017, they started to, they say, move away from it. I would guess there's still some people in Zappos that are still using holacracy. But what they did is they started to, they say, treat their organization like an ecosystem of micro enterprises. And so they're giving their different departments a lot of autonomy, which holacracy does, but I think they're letting them manage themselves in different ways and almost making it like a competition between the different departments in like who can manage themselves the best. And I would bet that they learned a lot from holacracy that is giving them ideas and giving them the skills that they are now using to go beyond that and do it in their own ways. So yeah, I just want to be clear that I'm not saying holacracy is the one, end all be all best way to do things. I just think it's a really good starting point and a comprehensive set of rules that you could adopt and try that would set things up from the beginning in your organization to guarantee that distributed authority, to train your employees to have self-management, to take responsibility for their own work, and to work together in this it's really a new paradigm of thinking. And so it's much better to start that way than to start with your typical top-down hierarchy or trying to use consensus, and then having to change to something else later. So I could talk about holacracy all day, but those are really the main points that I wanted to make. I hope that you found this interesting, and if you want to hear more, please let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe, and please consider joining my Patreon to support me so that I can continue doing this work in the future. Thank you. Have a great day.